Sticking points, as she mentioned, throughout these negotiations has been the extension of the extra $600 a week in unemployment benefits. It's something Senator Ron Wyden and his colleagues have been pushing for in the next round of stimulus. And Senator Wyden of Oregon joins me now. It's great to have you, sir. And would you be comfortable with a $300 a week figure?
I wouldn't. And the fact is, the person who is least interested in real compromise, actual compromise where working families get a fair shake, the person who's least interested in a real compromise is Mitch McConnell. He has basically said it is my way or the highway. I mean, the fact is, on his proposal, it actually shrunk what he was offering previously. For example, there was no weekly boost in unemployment. Now, when I negotiated the original agreement with Steve Mnuchin on behalf of the Trump administration, both sides gave. We gave, they gave. Mitch McConnell sure isn't doing any giving now, but we're interested in trying to find common ground that protects workers and helps our country when we're having record numbers of coronavirus cases.
Yeah, I take your point, but the whole issue here is compromise. You know, you have a party who, on the one hand, wants a multi-trillion-dollar bill with the level of benefits you say, and the other party interested in a much, much smaller scaled-down figure that would still provide, I believe, in the $908 billion version, $300 a week. So you wouldn't vote against that, would you? I mean, if it was that or nothing?
Well, I will continue to be sitting at this desk in the Dirksen Senate office building, as I did when we put together the original compromise on unemployment benefits, to try to find common ground. But Kelly, let's understand what we're talking about. We're talking about unemployed workers, unemployed through no fault of their own, needing to make rent. They need to buy groceries. They need to get heat. They need to pay for medicine for their family members. Mitch McConnell doesn't want to help with that, but he wants to give tax breaks for business lunches. That's not a compromise.
What about the PPP program? You know, we got details this week about, what portion of it went to larger businesses versus smaller ones. There's still a controversy over whether these loans should be entirely forgiven. And in the meantime, industries, especially like the restaurants, some of the hotels, are really hoping there's going to be another round of aid. Would you support more PPP funding? How much so? And does the $908 billion bill have a sufficient amount in it?
It is urgent business because in Oregon and across the country, our small businesses, the restaurants and scores of others, they basically have been hit by a wrecking ball. So many of them, big reductions in street traffic, and we've got to get them additional financial help and more flexibility in terms of using it. I think that there's a consensus among members of the United States Senate on doing it, and it ought to be part of a balanced package. But I can tell you there's some heavy lifting to do now, given the fact that Mitch McConnell has stonewalled and actually, as I say, shrunk from his original terms. That's what happened on unemployment.
Senator, before we go, what would you tell investors who are trying to figure out, just how close we really are this time around? There has been a flurry of action this week from both parties who seem to be open to this compromise. Does that mean there's greater than 50-50 odds that this bill is passed, becomes law, and the money starts moving before the end of the year?
I would tell investors that we've got the framework. That's what the bipartisan proposal does. It, in effect, lays out a structure around something you can build on that would be good for our country. But there is an awful lot of heavy lifting to do. And I want people to know, as the ranking Democrat on the Senate Finance Committee, I think this is hugely important. This is like a social contract almost. Our country is hurting. Our businesses are hurting. Everybody has got to step up and be part of that social contract so we can get an agreement that's fair.
All right. Well, if it were a month or two ago, I would have definitely wanted to talk to you all about Section 230, and that was in the news again this week, of course.
We'll do that again.
But please come back. We'll absolutely another huge issue. One of the co-authors, Senator Wyden. Thanks so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.